Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in every life where the ordinary must give way to the extraordinary, not by chance, not by luck, but by a quiet, commanding force within, a force that comes alive when God walks with a man. You've seen him before, the man whose presence seems to bend circumstances to his will, the woman whose dreams materialize not through magic but through unwavering conviction. These are not accidents of fate. They are manifestations of a great truth. When a man aligns his mind with divine purpose, he becomes unstoppable. When a person aligns their mind and purpose with a higher power, they tap into an unstoppable inner strength. This is not mere inspiration or fleeting motivation. It is the fusion of spiritual clarity with mental discipline, creating a force that moves beyond the limits of personal ability. The individual no longer operates solely on their own strength or understanding. Instead, they become a vessel through which something greater expresses itself, shaping reality in accordance with a divinely guided intent. This alignment brings an unwavering confidence that is not loud or boastful, but deeply rooted. It speaks not in words, but in presence, and it carries the quiet authority of someone who knows exactly where they are going and why. When the human mind surrenders its distractions and fixates on a purpose worthy of divine partnership, the ordinary boundaries of effort and endurance begin to fall away. Tasks that once seemed insurmountable become manageable. Resources that were previously out of reach begin to appear. The inner chaos that often clouds judgment is replaced by clarity, and decisions begin to emerge with precision and timing that seem uncanny. This is not coincidence. It is the result of a mind that is no longer fragmented or confused, but unified with a mission that transcends ego or self-preservation. The person becomes less concerned with fear of failure because their actions are fueled by something more enduring than personal ambition. They are rooted in faith. This alignment with higher purpose also ignites a new kind of energy, one that is sustainable even under pressure. Where others burn out, the aligned individual draws on a deeper reservoir. It is not simply physical stamina or intellectual sharpness. It is a spiritual energy that replenishes itself through continued obedience to the calling. Each step taken in faith adds to that strength. Each challenge overcome reinforces the bond between the person and the power guiding them. The more they trust, the more they act. The more they act, the more they see results. This feedback loop builds momentum until that person begins to operate at a level that appears from the outside to be superhuman. Others may see it and attribute the success to natural talent, luck, or timing, but the person who walks in this alignment knows the truth. They understand that the strength they draw from is not entirely their own. It is gifted, but only because they have chosen to be a vessel for something beyond themselves. That choice, made daily in thought and deed, creates a kind of authority that no title or wealth can replicate. It attracts opportunities, people, and outcomes that seem to organize themselves around the individual's path. It is as though life itself conspires to support the mission, and in many ways it does. Because when the mind and spirit are in harmony with a greater purpose, even the laws of resistance begin to shift. What was once hard becomes inevitable. What was once delayed becomes divinely timed. What was once a dream becomes a living reality through disciplined action under divine guidance. Success begins with a clear, unwavering goal that guides all actions and decisions. This is not just a hopeful wish or vague desire. It is a definite purpose that becomes the central axis around which a person's entire life turns. Without it, even the most talented individuals become scattered and inconsistent, chasing momentary interests without ever producing lasting results. But with it, even someone with modest means and limited resources can rise to remarkable heights. The power of definiteness lies in its ability to focus mental, emotional, and physical energy in a single direction. It transforms potential into productivity and vision into victory. A definite purpose acts like a compass. In a world full of distractions, noise, and competing demands, it becomes the internal guide that helps a person say yes to the right opportunities and no to everything else. Clarity of purpose brings discipline. Because the person is no longer tempted by every shiny object or derailed by every setback, their vision is fixed, their direction, and this certainty gives birth to confidence, not arrogance, but quiet, determined belief that the goal will be achieved, no matter how long it takes or how difficult the road becomes. Clarity of purpose also activates the subconscious mind. When a goal is burned deeply into the consciousness with emotional intensity, the mind begins to work behind the scenes to solve problems, identify connections, and notice patterns that would otherwise go unseen. The individual begins to attract the right people, the right ideas, and the right timing, not because of coincidence, but because their entire being is alert and tuned toward the achievement of a specific outcome. This is the invisible force of focus at work. It is not magic, it is mental alignment, and it is accessible to anyone who is willing to define what they truly want and commit to it fully. A person without a definite purpose is easily swayed by fear, doubt, or the opinions of others. Their journey is full of detours and indecision because they lack a clear destination. But a person who knows their purpose gains inner strength. They are not easily discouraged because their mind has already accepted the reality of the goal. It is just waiting for time and action to catch up. They are not dependent on external validation because their direction comes from within. This inner compass becomes more reliable than public opinion, more powerful than temporary failure, and more sustaining than fleeting motivation. Definitiveness of purpose also inspires others. People are drawn to those who know where they're going. There is a magnetism in certainty, a charisma in clarity. It builds trust. It creates momentum. Leaders are not always the loudest or the most charismatic. They are often simply the ones with the clearest sense of mission. And when that mission is rooted in service, growth, or contribution, it resonates at a level far deeper than personal gain. It becomes a shared vision, one that invites others to participate, support, and follow. The result is not just personal success, but impact. Belief alone is not enough. Faith must be followed by disciplined, relentless action to manifest results. Faith is the beginning of all achievement, but it cannot stand alone. It is the spark, not the fire. It is the seed, not the harvest. True transformation occurs when belief is combined with motion, when the inner conviction of possibility meets the outer expression of work. Too often people hold on to dreams with hope, but no plan, with desire but no execution. They imagine, visualize, and affirm, but they never put their hands to the task. Faith without work is empty. It is a form of passive optimism that waits for conditions to change rather than taking responsibility to change them. The person who understands the relationship between faith and action becomes a force of nature. They do not wait for permission to begin. They trust in the unseen, yet move boldly in the seen. Their belief is not a fantasy. It is a decision to act as if the goal is already within reach. They speak, plan, and behave in alignment with what they believe to be true, and through that alignment, they begin to alter the world around them. The power of faith lies not in what it promises, but in what it demands. It demands movement. It demands commitment. It demands that the individual risk failure in pursuit of success. Action fueled by faith is not frantic or desperate. It is purposeful. It is the kind of action that comes from clarity and conviction. Each step, however small, becomes an expression of belief. Even in the face of uncertainty, this kind of action carries power. It communicates to the subconscious mind that the goal is not a wish, but a command. Over time, these repeated acts of belief build momentum. The person begins to experience progress, and progress feeds confidence. Confidence deepens faith, and faith strengthens action. This creates a cycle of growth that cannot be manufactured by motivation alone. Many people believe in their potential but never test it. They wait for the perfect moment, the right conditions, or the removal of fear before they begin. But the truth is that fear does not disappear until action is taken. Clarity does not come before the journey, it comes during it. Faith, by its very nature, requires movement before certainty. It is a choice to trust what is unseen long enough to make it visible through effort. Those who understand this principle stop looking for signs and start becoming the sign. They stop asking for proof and start producing it through their results. In combining faith with action, a person becomes aligned with both vision and reality. They are not merely dreamers, they are builders. Their dreams are not fragile ideas, they are structures in progress, built brick by brick through persistence and labor. The world responds not to what people hope for, but to what they work for. It recognizes intention only when it is made tangible through decisions, routines, and discipline. Faith makes a way where there is none, but only for those willing to walk it. God walks with the bold, not the idle. It is not enough to believe or to hope for divine partnership. It must be earned through decisive movement and unwavering commitment. The power that flows from above meets the person who refuses to stand still. There is a difference between waiting in faith and hesitating in fear. Too many hide behind prayers they never intend to act upon, expecting divine intervention without offering their own hands, minds, or hearts in return. But the universe does not reward passivity. It rewards initiative, courage, and the willingness to face uncertainty with action. Boldness is not arrogance, nor is it recklessness. It is the inner assurance that even without all the answers, one must move forward. It is the choice to act when the outcome is unclear, to begin when the path is not fully visible. The bold do not wait for perfect timing. They create it. They are willing to make mistakes, to fail in the open, because they know that motion invites correction and insight. God walks with those who trust Him enough to take the first step without guarantees. That step is the signal of readiness, the evidence of faith in motion. Idleness, on the other hand, cloaks itself in delay and over an apposition. It convinces the mind that waiting is wise, that more time is needed, that fear must be resolved before movement is justified. But hesitation kills momentum. It allows fear to take root and spread, turning what could have been courage into complacency. Those who wait too long often find that the door they were praying for has already closed, not because God was unwilling, but because they were unmoving. Divine partnership is not a rescue operation. It is a collaboration. Heaven does not carry the entire load. It strengthens the shoulders of those willing to lift. The bold are often misunderstood. They act before others see the reason. They speak vision when others only see problems. But it is precisely this willingness to move without consensus that marks them for greatness. Their lives are not governed by fear of failure, but by fear of inaction. They understand that missing the opportunity to try is a greater loss than any temporary setback. And in that relentless forward motion, they become aligned with a greater force, one that meets their action with opportunity, their courage with provision. There is a sacred rhythm that forms between the person who moves with boldness and the divine force that guides them. Each action taken in trust opens another door. Each risk taken in alignment with purpose unveils new strength. Momentum is built through this dance between the seen and unseen. The person who acts boldly does not always know how things will turn out, but they know that staying still is not an option. In their willingness to step into the unknown, they create space for miracles. They demonstrate faith not in words, but in motion, and that is the kind of faith that heaven honors. A person walking with God learns from setbacks and uses them as stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. Failure is not viewed as an end, but as a necessary and even sacred part of growth. When a person is aligned with a higher purpose, challenges take on a different meaning. They are not interruptions to progress. They are instruments of refinement. Every defeat holds within it a message, a lesson, and a push toward greater clarity and strength. Those who walk in faith are not spared from failure. They are transformed by it. Failure, in its raw form, is simply feedback. It reveals what is not yet understood, what is not yet mastered, and what must be adjusted. To the person without faith or vision, failure becomes personal, paralyzing, and shameful. But to the one who walks with God, failure is a teacher. It is a mirror that shows the difference between current ability and desired outcome. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" the faithful ask, "What is this here to teach me?" That shift in mindset changes everything. The experience of failure becomes a tool for building wisdom, resilience, and character. The path of purpose is never smooth from start to finish. It is marked by resistance, by doubt, and by moments of discouragement. But these moments are not meant to destroy. They are meant to reveal what lies within. When everything goes wrong, when plans fall apart, when effort is met with disappointment, it is the response to these moments that determines the future. The person who walks with divine awareness sees failure not as rejection, but as redirect. They trust that there is meaning in the mess and value in the valley. They know that their worth is not tied to one outcome, and their calling is not canceled by one misstep. Resilience is forged in the fire of failure. It cannot be developed in comfort. The person who walks with God does not fear falling because they know they are never alone. They rise again, not because they have all the answers, but because they are held by a deeper conviction that something greater is guiding them. They understand that every great story includes struggle, and that endurance is often the very thing that separates success from regret. Where others quit, they reflect. Where others retreat, they recalibrate. And in doing so, they gain something more valuable than success. They gain depth, insight, and inner strength. Failure also humbles the heart. It removes pride and reminds the individual that power and guidance come from beyond the self. It creates space for humility, which opens the door for growth. In that humility, the person becomes teachable, open to new strategies, and willing to listen. They stop clinging to the illusion of control and begin to embrace a process of becoming. That process is never linear, but it is always meaningful. Each failure brings them closer, not just to their goal, but to their truest self, the version that can carry success with grace, wisdom, and responsibility. A person walking in faith and purpose exudes quiet power that influences others without force. There is something unmistakable about someone who knows where they are going, why they are going there, and who they are becoming in the process. Their presence speaks louder than their words. They do not demand attention, yet people are drawn to them. They do not need to convince, yet others are compelled to follow. This influence is not the result of charisma or clever speech. It is the result of alignment between inner conviction and outward behavior. It is the natural consequence of a life lived with clarity, intention, and unwavering belief. Such individuals do not move through life seeking approval or applause. They are not tossed about by trends, opinions, or opposition. Their decisions are rooted in a deeper understanding of their purpose, and this gives them a sense of calm in the midst of chaos. They are not easily provoked because their sense of identity is not fragile. They do not seek to dominate, yet their certainty commands respect. This kind of influence cannot be manufactured. It cannot be borrowed or imitated. It comes only from the disciplined pursuit of a calling and from the steady refinement of character through both triumph and trial. People notice when someone walks in purpose. They notice the consistency, the integrity, and the lack of pretense. They notice the way such individuals carry responsibility, how they respond to setbacks, how they speak about their work and their journey. There is no need to sell anything, because the life itself becomes the message. Influence in this context is not about gaining followers. It is about setting an example that resonates so deeply it challenges others to reflect on their own path. The power of purpose is that it doesn't just elevate the person who possesses it. It awakens something in those who witness it. Individual walking in this kind of alignment becomes a leader without needing a title. Their vision is clear, their actions are deliberate, and their values are consistent. They are not immune to fear or failure, but they respond to both with courage and composure. People trust them not because they are perfect, but because they are real. They admit mistakes, take responsibility, and keep moving forward. This authenticity builds credibility. The more consistently they live out their purpose, the more others feel safe to trust them, listen to them, and even emulate them. The quiet power of purpose has the ability to shift environments. A person walking with divine direction carries a kind of energy that changes conversations, influences decisions, and inspires new thinking. Without preaching, they teach. Without forcing, they lead. Their focus becomes contagious. Their discipline sets a new standard. Their resilience encourages others to keep going. And their very presence reminds people that it is possible to live a life that is both grounded and inspired, practical and visionary, human and touched by something higher. Influence in its highest form does not dominate, it elevates.